Welcome everyone to this midwinter writing practice. I can't think of a better way to honor Imbolc, to honor midwinter, to really celebrate the goddess Brigid than to craft our own poetry, to really carry us through the rest of this dark season. For those of you who aren't familiar with Imbolc or midwinter, it is the really ancient celebration of the halfway point between winter and spring. It originates mostly from Ireland and kind of the Celtic region of the world. It's a great practice that we're going to get into today if you're a writer and somebody who's looking to really write like authentic, transformative pieces of writing. If you're looking to maybe author a book, a great practice to use for that. But it's also, I found, just a really wonderful practice in my daily life to connect with something that feels magical, to connect with spirit, and to introduce myself, because there's a lot of new faces here that I'm not so familiar with. My name is Taylor. I really started off my online work as a birth doula, a fertility specialist, most recently a death doula. So it was around COVID when I started to kind of have a shift in my focus, just in my personal practices in my life. I decided to go all in on this childhood dream of mine of being an author. And within the next 2 years, I had published 2 books, one child and a children's book. I've written several novels in the meantime, none to be published yet, but it's just something I'm really passionate about. It's a great creative outlet for moms who are really kind of strapped on time, and just a fun way to express ourselves and to really heal and explore different parts of our past, of our present, and to craft a future that we're really excited about. And to start off today, what I want to do first, just kind of bring us all together. So we're going to do just a short meditation. If you have some like gentle music you want to play in the background, just so you can really kind of drop into this practice. And what we'll start doing is just gently closing your eyes. At first, just really noticing the breath, not trying to change it, not trying to manipulate it, just breathing. Imagine yourself sitting in this circle with all of us coming together at different times, different places. None of that matters. We're all here now. And when it feels comfortable, just bring a hand to the heart space and a hand over your womb space. Again, as you're breathing, just noticing the rise and fall of your hands. And you start to notice almost a gentle wave in the body. As the breath comes in, it moves down, expands our belly. Our chest follows, and then they gently fall. Breathing in deep into the belly, deep into the womb space. Imbolc's direct translation comes to mean in the belly. We go in the belly of the great mother of earth as she begins to stir. Energy begins to shift and move and awaken as we prepare for the coming of spring. We can feel the stirring of energy in our bodies, from our womb space expanding upwards into our heart. Just breathing gently through this. Now we begin to manipulate the breath a little bit. On your next inhale, bring it really deep down into the womb, expanding that lower hand as far out as you can. Your belly soft, open. And exhale, it softly comes back to your center. Exhale, we expand outward, open, soft. And exhale, everything comes back to center. One more deep breath into the womb. Hand expands outward, soft belly, open, expansive, and release. Exhale, it all comes back to center. On your next inhale, I want you to take it through the womb space and imagine a red cord connecting you deep into the center of the earth. It may take a few breaths to get you there, just breathing deeply, allowing that cord to anchor you deep into the womb of earth. Deep breaths in through the belly, through the womb, and into the earth. Once you've made that connection deep within the core of the earth, on your inhales, imagine yourself pulling that energy up into your body, up into your heart space, and breathing through that connection. Every inhale anchors you, roots you more deeply. Every exhale, it slowly relaxes away. Inhale deeply into the connection. Exhale, you pull the energy up through your womb into your heart. Take as many breaths as it feels good in this practice here. And when you're ready, you can softly detach your connection from the earth or keep it there. The Great Mother, the earth, is always holding us, always connecting us, grounding us deeply into her. Bring your awareness back to your lower hand over your womb space. Noticing its rise and fall with the breath. And then your attention comes to the heart. Noticing your hand rise and fall. Noticing the expansion and the contraction as you come back to center. When you're ready, gently flutter your eyes, maybe bring some gentle movement back into your body. And because this is a recorded session, I really ask that you all leave off your cameras, mute your microphones, just so we don't have any interruptions and nobody is shared online if they don't want to be. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you all for taking time to really connect with this changing season, connecting with Brigid herself, connecting back into the earth. Brigid is a goddess, once was a goddess, really revered and honored in ancient Ireland, so much so that the church actually decided to canonize her and make her a saint, which doesn't happen very often with our old gods and goddesses. So she is a very important role within the Irish culture, within spiritual practices. And what she's most known for is really being the goddess of fertility, really holding that maiden archetype of the coming of spring. She's also connected with healing, with the hearth, with that inner fire that begins to turn as we move from winter into spring. We can feel that in our bodies shifting energy. We're ready to come out of our hibernation. We're ready to start taking some gentle action. We spent the last couple months kind of being gently curious on our direction for the coming year. And now is when we begin to plant those seeds to really grow into our desires as the year continues on. As we know, a lot of the seeds that we plant, they do a lot of work underneath the ground in the dark when they're not seen. So these next month and a half ish between now and the first day of spring, we really start to take that interaction behind the scenes before we really come outward and express those desires to the world, express our plans. We do that inner work now to foster really great abundant success in the coming year. Saint Brigid, Goddess Brigid, is a great person, a great deity to call upon in these practices to support you in the planting of these desires, the planting of the seeds. She's also very much associated with poetry, which is why we're gathered today to drop into a spirit-led writing practice. Now, I mentioned earlier, back in 2020, I kind of had a shift in my own practice away from so much birth work and womb tending to really honor my own spiritual practice and develop something that felt fun for me, and that has always been writing. Ever since I was a young girl, I had dreams of being a writer, and I didn't know where to start. I don't have a degree in writing, not that you need a degree in writing by any means, but I just felt like I needed some tangible skills to really help me bring these inner stories that I had to life. I had taken a course through I'm probably going to mess up the name there. I'll link it in the description, but through the shamanic school of Scandinavia, I believe is the name, but I took a soul writing class a couple autumns ago. And it was so transformative, not just in my writing practice, but in my healing, in my own personal journey. I was able to really root back and rewrite some of those repetitive stories that were moving through my mind. I found myself really stuck in a lot of limiting beliefs that I didn't have time, that I wasn't good enough, that, XYZ, any of those limiting beliefs that are kind of controlling our current reality from a background, subconscious level. When we work with story, we're able to connect with all stories, but especially the stories that are no longer our truth, to rewrite them, to recraft them, to change their ending, to make it into something that we desire it to be. So the really beautiful thing is when we live life in an animistic way, when we view everything as being full of this spirit, full of this essence of God and Goddess, that everything becomes a spiritual practice. So what shifted for me is I began to look at story as its own being. When we connect with story, we're able to then write truly authentic, original, transformative pieces of work. This workshop, we're going to dive into kind of a warm-up practice that I like to do before I do any sort of like real writing. And I'll go in at the end of the course at the end of this workshop and just explain a little bit on what the other tools are when it comes to spirit-led writing practices. So this one right now, it's a really easy, kind of fun practice. What we're going to do is allow spirit, allow Brigid to come through to help us craft these poems that we can carry with us through the rest of the season. And the key thing here is we're really trying to just like get out of our own way, right? Through this writing practice, it always still to this day blows my mind at what comes through, how beautifully the words flow, and that we do end up with something really profound after this practice. So poetry, again, I really want to kind of emphasize this for us all because I think a lot of us think of poetry as rhyming, and that's not the case. Poetry is just something that moves you, something that has meaning, that provokes feeling or inspiration. It doesn't have to be a rhythmic or a rhyming phrases. It can be very open-ended, and I'm going to ask that you all drop your poems in the group chat, which we have over on WhatsApp, or down in the comments below, so we can all kind of share and really see what each of us has crafted. Now, to get into this writing practice, if you need a pen or paper, please grab that now so we can get started. The key thing to keep in mind, so as we're writing now, we're not going to worry about spelling, we're not going to worry about grammar, about how beautiful your handwriting looks. Like, really let go of all of that and just allow yourself to free write. Allow it to flow. It might take a few rounds, and we'll do a couple rounds of this. The more you get into it, the more you'll be able to identify when you are connecting to spirit, to allow that writing into paper, computer. Today we're going to use paper though, because this part of the practice really is important that we use pen and paper versus a computer. Again, don't think about being poetic, just write, just let it flow. So our first, how we'll do this here is I'm going to give you a word. You take that word, sit on it for a second, and then just write. It can be single words. Everybody connects with spirit differently. It might be in smells, it might be in mental images, in words, in feelings. Whatever way spirit talks to you is perfect. Just allow that to be written on the paper. So our first word is going to be midwinter. Midwinter. And we'll take a couple minutes here to write on midwinter. Maybe writing what it means to you. Here in Wisconsin, we got snow last night. So for me, I'm just thinking of kind of that in-between dance between spring and winter, where the snow comes and it melts away, it comes, melts away. Maybe you're somewhere where it's warmer, somewhere southern. Maybe you have some greenery already starting to pop through. Anything at all that comes to mind, that is on your heart, in your mind's eye, write that down. We'll spend just another minute or so free writing on the word midwinter. All right. And then once you have found a place where maybe the inspiration has slowed a bit, set down your pen and just read through what you wrote. So for me, what I have here: flow, snow, come and go, back and forth we dance with spring, growing, burning, heart's desire, sinking in, taking root. I just did it very shortly at the end here, but whatever you have on your paper, find something, a word, maybe a phrase that's really standing out to you, that's like, ooh, this feels good. For me, in my own practice here, it is burning. I don't know why, but that word is just really calling out to me today: burning. Yours is probably something different. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take that second word, that phrase, whatever you have, and we're going to write on that. We're going to write on that just like we did with the word midwinter: free writing, spirit writing, allowing ourselves again to get out of our way, get out of our really ego logical mind, and connect with true inspiration, which is God's source. So take your word and we'll write again for just another couple minutes. Take another minute here just to write on your chosen word or phrase, allowing it to just flow onto the paper. Again, we're not concerned about spelling, about grammar, punctuation, just writing the words that come, writing the visuals that come, the feelings, the smells. Allowing spirit to move through you in this writing practice. And again, we're going to read through what we wrote. I'll share mine here. You can share yours in the group chat or down in the comments. If something is really standing out and you want to share, I would love to hear what you have written. For me, what I have is transformation, rebirth. We find ourselves changed, transfigured, not what we once were, but something more, something bigger and better, but not an ego in God. Find your passion, find your purpose. Allow it. I can't even read the last word. So yeah, sometimes when you're doing this, your handwriting is chicken scratch, and that is just fine, as long as you can kind of make out the feeling there. So then we're going to read through that, find, again, the phrase, the word that speaks to you. We're going to do this one more time to really get out of our own way and to find the core message, the core embodiment of what our poem is to carry us through the rest of winter. So again, we'll take just a few minutes to write freely, connecting with spirit. I think the word that's really standing out for me is transfigured. So I'm going to write on that. Just allowing the words to flow onto the paper for you. We'll spend just another minute here, kind of finish up writing. As you do continue writing, one thing I just want to kind of talk about is the more we do this practice, the more you'll be able to identify when you have that connection to spirit and when you're just forcing it, when your kind of ego, logical mind is trying to take over. And when I often notice that's happening is when I feel like I'm trying to force the next word, when I'm like searching for the next word and like concentrating on that one word that comes next. That's me. That's not spirit. When spirit is coming through, I can't get the words out fast enough. And it takes practice. This is your first time doing it for many of you. So it takes practice. Allow yourself to work with this over an extended time. Maybe it's something you do every week, every morning, just a quick 10 minutes. You can go through the repetition as many times as you like. I like to do it at least twice for sure. 3 times I feel like is kind of a sweet spot, but you could keep going deeper and deeper. And let's see here. So if you can, just kind of wrap up what you're currently writing on. And I'll share mine in just a second here. Again, please bring yours into the group chat, into the comment space below. I would love to connect further and really see what you all are crafting and really to gain inspiration from each other. I don't expect your poem to be exactly what you want it to be right now. It probably is not, but it's a great framework that maybe you can make a few adjustments, change out a few words if you need to, add some different punctuation to really craft something that's meaningful to you, that came from spirit to you, to carry you through the rest of winter. It might be something more solemn. It might be something more inspirational. Whatever it is what you need in this moment. Again, when we approach story as this spiritual being, we really look at it as its own wise entity. When we appreciate story as its own being, we can work with it as medicine, as a tool, as a friend. We build a co-relationship with story itself to really craft some incredible, moving, authentic pieces of work. So I will share mine here with us. So again, the word I picked was transfigured. Changing form, expanding space, hurry quickly, take up space. From here to there, we feel its pull, heart roots deeply, there's a lull, a pause between then and now, healing, burning, standing proud. We anchor in, roots go deep, pulling from her just what we need. There's a few words there I'd probably change out. I think I said space twice, really close together. So I might change that word out something else, when I sit down and really kind of loosely edit it. But again, it's just for you. It's just for fun. It's just something to maybe keep in the back of your mind, in your back pocket, maybe make a cute little screensaver background for your phone. So it's just a reminder that spirit always has your back. That story is always there waiting for us to connect with her. Same with the earth, same with Brigid and the other gods and goddesses. So this is a really great practice just in general for expression, for creativity. It's really great if you're already maybe have dreams of authorship or a desire to create written work or maybe content. Maybe you have a business. Yeah. So again, please share your work down in the comments in our private group chat, because I'd love to hear what you're writing. This method, again, really allows us to get out of our own way. The more you do it, the more you begin to feel that shift between your self-writing and spirit writing. You could look at this almost as like an automatic writing practice, where we're in many ways really channeling the spirit of story, whatever that may be, whatever story is coming through for you now. Each time that we pick a word and we go deeper, we're removing a layer of ego, of logic, of this human kind of consciousness and focus, and stepping a level deeper into spirit, into source. And you can repeat this practice as many times as you would like. Again, I really find that three times is kind of the sweet spot. Any further, you still can keep going with it, but for me, I found that three is enough. And one thing I wanted to introduce to you all, so I know there's a lot of you in this space that are mothers, that are small business owners, and some of you even have this really strong desire to be writers. And I wanted to open the doors today for an extended workshop using these practices. So this here that we did today was really a warm-up practice. It was just something I like to do anytime before I sit down and write. I actually start my day with this practice where I just free write. I maybe read over it a little bit, find a word, and free write on that. Not a lengthy practice, just enough to fill a page or two in my notebook. But it just really helps clear my mind at the start of the day, gets rid of any stories that I'm holding for maybe days past that just keep lingering. And when I say stories, story comes from anything that happened. Like anything that happened becomes a story seed. So you had a weird conversation at work with somebody that you keep thinking about. That's a story seed. There's ways that we can go back into that moment to change our perspective, to really find some deep spiritual meaning in that moment. And the really cool thing is then we can find the medicine. We can find what message and healing is needed. There's a reason why things loop through our head, why past experiences, past happenings, or moments are playing through our head repetitively, days, months, years after. We can go back into that story seed to find that medicine, to find the healing, and really kind of rewrite what happens so we can feel good and more healed, more whole moving forward. The writing workshop that opens up today, I'm so excited to share with you all. So we're going to be first connecting with the stories of our body. I know there's lots of reasons why some of us may not trust our body wisdom, but if you can really take the story from your body, and like, what better truth is there than a felt, lived, physical body experience, right? Like, this is going to connect you deeply to spirit writing, deeply to spirit, deeply to story. So we'll learn how to connect with our bodies in a way that allows us to extract the story from our body to form a deeper connection, not just with story, but also really with ourselves and our own being. And the next practice is the next session will be focusing on stories from our ancestors. So our ancestors, those who have passed on before us, the compassionate beings who are really just on the other side of the veil, really waiting for us to come forward, to connect with them. They have so much wisdom and kind of a wider perspective than what we do in our current reality. And I think that's so needed right now. We see so many changes and shifting ideas and perspectives happening in the world. I really can't think of a better way to connect with this higher level of wisdom than for it to be from your own ancestors. So we will learn how to work with our ancestors to obtain this wisdom and these stories to move forward. In that session, we're also going to practice shamanic aspecting. So I will teach you how to call upon the spirit of the story that you need to be writing now. This can be really powerful and healing for people maybe with trauma, or people who have these very repetitive thought patterns. It's also something that's really, really great if you have desires of authorship, if you have a book or a story that you're currently writing on. This is like the keystone practice of your writing practice. This is going to help you gain clarity anytime you're stuck in the writing process. It's also going to allow you greater wisdom. Again, more authentic, transformative work is what we're trying to do here. We want to take these higher ideas and really anchor them into the physical reality so other people can connect with and use this medicine in their own lives. The last one, which is my favorite way to connect with story, is through nature. So we'll connect with nature and I will teach you all how to do a nature medicine walk. And through this, you will gain the outline for your next novel, your next book. If you don't have dreams of authorship, it's just a really fun way to create stories for your children or for yourself. Just to connect with nature in this way is kind of fun. You can use this practice for healing, or even just for fun. If you're in this space, I'm assuming that you enjoy story, you enjoy writing. So this is a practice that's going to help you connect to a quite bigger being, which is nature and Mother Earth, to really craft your story from you and from spirit. So the doors for this extended workshop are opening up today. I'm going to drop the link for such in the group chat that we have. I'll also drop it down in the description. If payment is an issue, it's really important to me that my work is accessible to everybody. And if you need a payment plan, if you are really hard set on doing this, but the cost is outside of your reality right now, please let me know that as well. I would love to work something out with you. I can't stress enough how important I think these practices are, but also that I just think they're so needed, not only for ourselves and our own healing, but to really bring forth some powerful stories, some powerful content, some powerful writing to connect with other like-minded people, but also to provide the inspiration for greater transformation. So if this is something that you really feel called to do, that you're interested in, even just slightly, please let me know, because I would be happy to work out some sort of payment option or a lower cost, whatever is needed for you to join us in this space. We'll start, I believe it was next Wednesday. I don't have a calendar in front of me, but all the dates will be in the link that I'm sharing. So again, I just wanted to thank you all so much for your time today, for joining in. Please include your poems or your stories, rough draft, final edits, whatever feels good for you. Drop it in our group chat, or if you're joining us later after the fact, please drop it in the comments down below. And thank you so much for being here today. I'm just so happy to have you all. Thank you.